Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show here on Radio John Doe. The show is about conversations that matter, and we have people from all walks of life to come and share all the inspirational and transformational things that they're involved in. And we have yet another amazing individual. She is a multi-talented woman. She is a real estate agent and also a coach. Please welcome the unstoppable Natalie Cousins. How are you doing today, Natalie?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today, and let's get to it. So tell us a little bit about your background leading up to what you're doing today.
Okay. So funny enough, I started off as an architectural technologist. I did that for about a year or two, just trying to get my feet wet in that industry, and realized that it wasn't really what I wanted. And so I took a break, went to work sales with Bell Canada. I was a sales representative, saved up some money, and then I signed up for interior design school. So
wonderful.
I went, became an interior designer, and immediately out of design school, I landed myself a very lucrative position at a local high-end design firm. But upon working with that design firm, I realized that, if I was going to be stuck in the fabric rooms and just picking colors, it wasn't going to look very good for the retirement plan that I wanted. And so I quickly ventured off, started my own design firm, and began to look for lucrative contracts. And so I ran into a colleague, and he said to me that his uncle was a builder. And I said to myself, okay, I really need to meet your uncle because I really want to get into new home construction. And so he gave me his uncle's phone number, and I persistently called this guy literally probably almost every week to say, hey, I'd really like to get in front of you, meet your partners and show my portfolio, show what I'm capable of doing. And I think maybe after the 10th or 11th attempt, his uncle was like, you know what, come on in. I want you to meet my partners. And so I met with them, showed them what I was capable of doing. And I actually got to wear 3 or 4 hats within that company. I really did have the best of both worlds. I was able to sell pre-construction, which was a whole new world for me, selling real estate. I was able to do the structural changes, and from there I was able to do the upgrades. And what would happen is the clients buying knew that I was a designer, so some of them would upgrade me to actually decorating the homes. And so that project was, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's up by Blue Mountain. It's Horseshoe Valley Resorts.
Wow.
So they have a bunch of timeshares and things up there. And so that was my first project as a young individual, and that's what captivated me in new home sales. And so I decided to open up a local design firm and work specifically with builders who are smaller, so not the big builders, but the smaller builders, have them come to my office, pick colors and things like that. And at some point I was booming, and I had a friend say to me, I found out I was expecting my first child, actually. Okay. So there's a little hurdle in the road, and I had a friend who said to me, I don't think you're going to be able to do this self-employment thing and be a mom. And so I thought about it, and I panicked, and I shut my whole operation down. But, sometimes you got to thank the people who put the hurdles in front of you, because it gets you thinking. And I really reevaluated myself, and I said, what's going to be a way for me to be able to be a mom, make money, and do the things that I like to do and stay relevant in the industry. Right. And so I did a self-inventory check. At the time, I didn't know what that was, or that's what I was doing. But I really evaluated myself for what is it that I like to do. And really what I like doing is helping individuals. And so that's what birthed my coaching business. I started to host a lot of workshops and seminars in downtown Toronto. And before you knew it, that was booming. And then I was expecting baby number 2. So comes the other surprise in my life. That was 2010. I had a little bit of a down spiral, but I decided that I needed a change in life. And so I had a friend who moved to the U.S., and she was in West Palm Beach. And she was watching me online, seeing the things that I was doing, and she said, you should really try to get some U.S. clients, so on and so forth. And so I called her up one day and I said, I'm ready. If you know anyone that needs consulting services or coaching services, let me know. Right. And so she called me one day and she goes, I think I have a client for you. And out of every bad comes a good, because my uncle had passed in Orlando. And so I had to go to his funeral. And from there, I just said, you know what, I'm going to hop on a bus and I'm going to go to West Palm. Met with this individual and did a proposal, presentation as well. And he was like, I need your services. And so he became my first U.S. client. The rest is history from there. I got licensed as a U.S. agent. I started doing real estate out there. I started building brokerage firms in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's just been the greatest path ever. So I have the best of both worlds. I'm able to sell real estate through a dynamic team that I have on both sides of the border, and I thrive on coaching real estate agents and just helping them focus on 6 pillars in their business. You're in sales some of the time, so you know that a lot of people just worry about the clients coming in, but they really don't focus on how they're going to handle that sea of clients coming in if they don't have a system. And so I'm a systematic person. Right. Yeah. I focus on what are you going to do to prepare for this wave. And I call it a nesting period. If anyone's a mom, they know the last couple of weeks of pregnancy, you start preparing for this baby, you start doing all this stuff. And I think that's what I do with my business, and that's what I teach in my coaching program. And so I developed a coaching program called the 6-Figure Real Estate Agent, and it is 6 pillars that I teach. And in the first phase, we look at your vision, your goal, and we create a plan of the things that you want. The second phase is we look at your business, income, and finances, and we look at where you are now and where you want to be, and then I look at how many transactions or how hard you're going to have to work to actually get that money. I'll bring in a specialist who will talk to them about budgeting and things like that. The third phase is marketing, which I feel is the most important. Well, one of the most important, and marketing really, it's your curb appeal. It's how people are looking at you online. It's how people look at you through your content marketing. You're finding your ideal clients, and you have specific messaging to the ideal avatar client that you want to work with. And most importantly, with the marketing, you have to stay consistent. And I never really understood this when I first started off in business. I was 19. The Bell or the Yellow Pages company called me, and they sold me a quarter-page ad for $1,900. And all it was my logo, what I did, and my phone number. And I always had to sell myself to that person on the phone before I would get a consultation. Well, now technology has evolved. You've got a whole bunch of social media platforms. You've got your website, and people are going to go searching for you to see who you are and see if they like you first before they'll even engage with you. And I think a lot of us miss that mark, and so I stress the importance on that. It's the biggest phase in my coaching program, and it takes a lot of implementation. But if you want longevity in your business, you definitely want to focus. After we conduct the marketing phase, then we move on to productivity, which is a struggling phase for a lot of entrepreneurs who maybe leave a 9-to-5. They go into their business full-time. They struggle with ownership and accountability and really owning up to the follow-ups and the things that they need to do to build their business. And I think what we don't realize is when we're employees, we are doing one task for a big organization. But when you become self-employed, you wear many hats. And at some point, you're going to have to outsource or delegate or own up to what you have to do to get it done. And so productivity is another area. Phase 4, where I try to, hammer it into their heads that you need to get a system in place, because if you were working for your boss, you'd have to show up at 9. So why, when you're working for yourself, you're showing up at 12? And it's a big thing if you want to survive.
Yeah,
phase 5 is the sales journey. And what I love about you, I can use that as an example, is whenever you are interviewing someone, you paint a picture of who they are and why you have brought them on the show, or you ask compelling questions, and you take your audience through a journey of the life of that individual. Well, as a sales representative selling real estate or helping a buyer buy, what's the journey that you want to take them on? Mm-hmm. And it's so important, because a lot of people miss the mark. They just think if they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy. If they're ready to sell, they're ready to sell. And they don't think about if this person's never purchased before, if they're new to the country and things might be different in another state or another province that they've bought from. What is the journey that you want them to experience so that it leads them to phase 6 of my coaching program, which is customer service and retention? Mm-hmm. If you have been in business for 5 years and the phone is not ringing repeatedly with repeat leads or referrals or, people calling to say so-and-so told me to work with you, it means you are very transactional in your business. And I say this to say that, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Chick-fil-A, Macy's, the Bay, they don't need to necessarily pay as close attention to the end user, because they've already built a brand for themselves. And where they get their customer service and retention from is when you walk into their stores and purchase something. So we will never know who the general manager is of a McDonald's, not that we really care, because we can pull up to that drive-through or walk in and their menu will always be there. But if I am a mom and pop's restaurant and they come in for something authentic, so I'm Caribbean, so if they say, I want plantains or something like that, and it's on the menu board but it's not there, that's not a great experience. Mm-hmm. So clients will remember the journey that you've taken them through. And if you are not following up to say happy 1-year anniversary or happy birthday or something that keeps touch points throughout the year, then you're losing. And I did market research at the beginning of this year, and I spoke with buyers and I spoke with sellers. And they all had the same thing to say. After the sale, they never heard from the agent. And to me, if you're getting a $20,000 commission check, you should be following up, because chances are someone's going to see the house that this person has bought, or chances are you've sold a house for someone and they need to go somewhere, but because you didn't hear from them, they haven't heard from you, you don't get the sale to help them with their next purchase.
Exactly.
And that's what I focus on, and I'm so passionate about it because of where I've been, the situations that I've come from, and with the research. I'm consistently researching to see what's out there, what are the pain points of individuals. And so I go ahead and I infuse this into the brains of the agents that I work with so that they can come out getting repeat business, getting referrals, and most importantly, depositing more checks into their bank account.
Well, fantastic, and I so appreciate, your pearls of wisdom. Definitely something to take heed, all the words of advice that you've shared with us today. So how can we get to know more if people want to have a one-on-one needs assessment with you or to get some coaching? And I also think you have a book that's coming out, right, Natalie?
Yes, I do, The 6-Figure Real Estate Agent, which talks about these 6 pillars. It's on pre-launch right now, and if anyone wants to get in touch with me, it's fairly simple. My website is www.nataliecousins.com, and if they want a book, it's just /book me, and if they want to pre-order the book, it's /the book. So it's just easy to find me.
Yes, absolutely. I need to get a signed copy of that book.
For sure.
I so appreciate everything that you've shared, and I get this impression that you're very empowering when it comes to meeting people. Because people who are first-time buyers may be a little bit hesitant, or they have some kind of fear because it's a big commitment. And with your solid knowledge and your integrity, I know all those fears are totally put aside. So, thank you so much for your wisdom and just for the type of, character that you are, that people can rely on whatever you say. So thank you so much, Natalie. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure listening to Natalie Cousins. She is an author. She's a real estate agent, and she's also a coach. So please connect with her at nataliecousins.com. Get a copy of her book, and you'll be seeing her coming out soon on the full episode of her interview on the Nikki Clarke Show. We taped that a few days back, and Natalie was just stellar. So look out for that episode coming out on the Nikki Clarke Network.com. Natalie, thank you so much. I wish you all the best for the holiday season coming up.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.